Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now. Before I do begin, I do want to say something. I, so far, have made a few different versions of a leveling system. There was the original one for the Isekai storyline. There's the Fantasy World one, and then there is even the one included in the self-insert Isekai storyline. This one is going to be a very simple system in how I did create it. Now, with that being said, let me go ahead and just jump right into it. Now, we'll start with Izuku Midoriya. Today is the last day of school. Deku, he's already not looking forward to going in. He already does have a bit of an expectation, but he already does have expectations about how things may be going for him. Bakugo is going to be his typical rowdy and boisterous self. People are probably going to say something or ignore him. That is his best understanding about how today might go. He had a bit of a strange dream last night. He can't remember much of it, but he does remember something trying to get his attention. Before he was able just to roll back over and head back to bed. And right now, there is where Deku, he does go to turn when he does it to walk into the bathroom. Him going to do a double take and look at himself in the mirror, sitting down his towel and going to just stare on. Right now, him going to look down and stare at his body. He has never worked out a single day in his life, but somehow he does find himself packed on with more muscle. He does find himself a little bit larger. And his muscles feel stronger. I mean, he felt a bit weird getting out of bed earlier, but this is incredible. I mean, look at his arms. Wait, hold on. If he just holds out his arm, turns his wrist, and yeah, he's never seen that muscle before. That is a big muscle. Him staring at the area around his elbow. I mean, how did he do this? Him looking into the mirror and just staring at his abs, since he does now apparently have them. Right now, him going to look at himself and somewhat grin. He's not sure how this happened before he decides to turn. And when he does look down at the floor, he does see something blinking in the corner of his vision. Him going to turn his eyes towards it as a screen is to pop up, it causing him to freeze. Congratulations. You are halfway towards your ascension to the first realm of your cultivation. Cultivation? Yes. You have half of the required energy and chakra to ascend to the first realm. You have gained significant boost upon making it halfway. However, to truly begin your journey, ascend to the first realm. Your current quest is to reach the first realm. You will gain a reward upon completion of this quest. A guidebook can be found in your inventory about how to achieve this. Deku just staring at that. And he does go to blink as he does a blink again. And again. And again? Wait. What the heck is going on? Okay, so how does this work? Inventory? Right now, the screen gonna fade as it does pop up a bar that does show Deku items. And he does see a book as he does go to reach out for it and swipe through the air. However, he does go to focus on it as the book does going to manifest in his hand. Him surprised with a smile as his fall forwards, him quite alarmed at the weight this book does to carry. Right now, him almost crashing directly headfirst in the shower. However, he does go to sit down and go to open the book. And he does begin to stare at some of the chapters. I mean, it's uh, cultivation methods, information about chakra, what you need to do to ascend to the second realm. Okay. The realms in their entirety. Him going to stare at that. The book, him flipping the pages, flipping again and again and again. It's 1,000 chapters. 1,000 chapters for cultivation techniques? Okay. Okay, so there's a lot here. Let's just go back to the first. Him going to chapter 1. Him reading a few things that do talk about the introduction to their cultivation methods and what they need to do to fully form their core to become a full-fledged stage 1 cultivator. And Deku, he does it to see it. Right now, they will feel a pulse of power in their body, and it will begin to harmonize with their mind, body, and soul. Right now, they've been given power, and the core of their beliefs are the foundation for their method. However, their ideals also do help to empower and fuel their cultivation. This is a highly summarized version, but it can be further explained in the chapters that will be listed. Him staring at a multitude of numbers he can't even begin to think about right now. His ideals can fuel his cultivation. But what are his ideals? He wants to be a hero. Him feeling a tug in his heart, and he does a glance down and throw his hand directly over his heart. And he is quite surprised about it. He feels a warm sensation burning in his chest. And he does gotta look back down at the book and try to find a chapter about the core. And it does give a brief explanation as to how to view it. Him going to close his eyes and focus on the warmth that's gathering around his heart. And whenever he does go to see a glowing green orb, he does stare at it. As he is met with a message, and he does go to watch this green ball begin to expand. Before he does begin to see the edges of a circle. No, of his core. Wow. So, how does this work then? He wants to be a hero. He wants to help people. He wants to do what's right. But him feeling multiple tugs and pulls. And before Deku can further think about this, he does go to hear someone pound on the door and talk about how he's going to be late for school. He's been in there for about 20 minutes. And Deku, he does go to jump up. Him holding the book and going to focus trying to put it back in his inventory. Now, whenever the book does suddenly vanish, Deku does go to hop in the shower, rinse himself off, and run to school. However, he does notice something on his way there. He doesn't break stride. He doesn't slow down. In fact, he feels like he's going for a minor jog, a run. But at the same time, he's already made it 4 or 5 blocks. And people, they do turn to stare at him. As whenever he actually started putting pedal to the metal, he started to move faster. And he was alarmed. He's running probably twice as fast as an athlete. And he was just looking around at everything. Everything feels brighter. His senses feel sharper. I mean, his endurance, it's high. And Deku, he does go to throw himself to a stop the moment he does see vehicles in the road. When he does do that, he does really bowl himself over into the street. However, he does just gonna stand there, sucking the breath and letting it out. Before he does turn his head and go to throw his hand out to grab the backpack of a kid who nearly ran into the road. And the kid does go to turn looking at Deku. And he does a turn looking in a bit of shock that he was able to catch them. You okay? Uh, Thank you for that. He got away from me. You almost got hurt. What do you say to the nice young man? Uh, Thank you. I'm sorry. It's alright, it's alright. Deku turning whenever he does can see people beginning to walk. Him immediately throwing himself forwards with a burst of speed. And right now, he does go to sprint the rest of the way to school as people, some do go to see him. And Deku, when he is sitting in class, he does have a lot going through his mind. He does walk a little taller. He does feel far more confident. He has some sort of power now. I mean, he doesn't know how far his strength does go, but with how fast he was moving, that kid, I mean, he weighed nothing. He didn't even see him at first. He just knew he was there. His body's enhancing itself. Huh. He's gonna need to study that book more over the break. Figure out what exactly it did to him. But how did he even gain the system? Is it his quirk? No, that doesn't make sense. But why would it reveal itself to him now? This going through his mind. And the teacher, he does go through his typical routine and spiel. However, Deku this time is adamantly going through his new notebook to learn more about it. And there currently is Bakugo. Bakugo does talk about what he plans to do. He's going to go to UA and become the #1 hero. That is his current goal and dream. However, whenever the teacher does talk about Deku being the only other person in class to talk about going to UA, he does a turn. Right now, him rushing over as he does call out Deku's name. Nezuko, he does not respond. Too busy reading the book. And Bakugo, he does bring his hand up and go to reach out for it, grabbing it. But when he does try and pull it away, Deku, he does look up and let go of the book. Bakugo pulling and pulling, and going to throw a foot up. Pulling the book again as Deku does stare at him. And people do just stare at that. Him falling backwards and crashing into the ground. Before Deku does stand and talk about it. Huh? Sorry, he was a little busy. He's reading a new book he has. What is that? What's up with the red cover? Deku turning and looking at the metallic cover of the book. What are they talking about? Well, whatever it is. Him jumping up. Talking about how he made a mockery of him. What did he do? Glue that damn book to the desk? And Deku, he does walk over, grabbing the book and going to pull it off of the desk with a small grunt in his own throat of effort. And Bakugo, he does glare at that, as he does talk about it. He better retract his entry to UA. Right now, he plans to be the only person from this shitty school who goes. If he doesn't intend to go, then they're going to have a problem. And Deku, he does find himself backing away in a bit of fear. However, he does remember now about something. His core does a pull at something in his chest, and he does go to stand a little taller and think about it. He actually has power now. He has strength. He can, he will be a hero. His core pulling at him. No, he won't just be a hero. He'll help people. He will help people. He won't just stand for injustice. His core tugging immensely powerful. And Deku, he does think about it. He won't let people down. He won't let them be like Bakugo. He won't just stand by and do nothing anymore. He'll stand up for himself. He'll stand up for the little guy. He'll make sure nobody has to deal with problems like that again. He will be just like All Might. His core tugging in the opposite direction. And this does alarm him. Him glancing down at his chest and feeling something. No. What is he missing? What is it? Deku, do you really think that you could be a hero? I do. I'll be the best version of me I can. Deku grinning. And that, it doesn't make him break through into the first realm. Right now, his body being covered in a glow as a small burst of air does fly from him. And right now, Bakugo, he does find himself flying backwards across the room. Him going to crash on the ground again as everyone, they do have their desk fly backwards and one of the windows does to crack. The teacher staring directly at Deku, who does begin to emanate a strange green glow. And he does just going to stare down at his hands. Huh. What did you just do? I don't know. I think my quirk's awakened. Him grinning. And he does go to get the reward. The system informing him to claim his prize at the next available opportunity. His new quest is quite simple. Breakthrough into the second realm. A journey of self-discovery and mental advancement. Please, I doubt you're any stronger. Really? You went tumbling on your ass, didn't you? Enough, you two. No, I can be a hero. I'll stand up for people. I'll make sure that people don't get hurt. You just want to throw your weight around. You want to be better than everybody else, but that doesn't mean you're good at all. Bakugo, you're just a bully. And you're in my way. Him rushing at Deku. And Deku, he does a stare at Bakugo's movements. Him bracing his body and feeling power pull from his chest. As he has to pull back his hand and go to throw his hand out. Him thinking about a punch. However, he's not sure about his own strength. So he does go to settle on throwing at his hand, and whenever Bakugo does the throw at his right. Deku grabbing him by the wrist, turning and pulling. And everybody, they saw Bakugo move quickly against Deku. However, when Bakugo went to go throw at his hand, Deku grabbed him and flung him towards the back wall. Him doing it so hard, some of them were barely able to register the speed. And Deku, he does to watch Bakugo crash into the wall and slide down. Him just staring at his own hands. And he does just gonna stare at them with a bit more shock. Him flexing his arms and trying to get accustomed to how he does feel. Bakugo still laying there on the ground as he does try to talk about something, but clearly he does sound a little confused. And there is where the teacher does get to clear his throat. Well, Mr. Midoriya, it does appear that his sudden quirk awakening should qualify him for UA. However, he does not physically condone violence in the classroom. Deku turning and apologetically going to nod. The teacher expressing, "Someone please take Mr. Kotsky to the nurse's office. This is the last day, so he will not hold it against them, but please try to be more careful with his enhancement abilities." Huh. Does he exactly know how his powers work? Um, I started feeling weird last night. That's all I really know. But I did run here all the way here this morning. It took me about 10 minutes. Ah, I see. Interesting, Mr. Midoriya. Deku going to throw his hand to the back of his head, grinning a bit awkwardly and going to somewhat laugh. As there is over Deku, he does leave school. Some people do begin to try and talk to him, hearing about how he beat Bakugo in a fight. And while he does tell them it's greatly exaggerated, a lot of them are still interested to hear the story. Meanwhile, Deku himself is very interested to get home and learn more about his power. And whenever he does a break off into a sprint, he does go to find himself moving faster than this morning. Him arriving home way sooner than he expected. However, Deku does go to make his way into the apartment complex. He does go to look up at the large, massive building. He's stronger. He's faster, but how strong is he exactly? Him going to squat down in a stance he's seen before. And he does go to throw himself into the air with a leap. Right now, him flying over 20 feet into the air and being quite shocked when he does still keep going. However, there is where he does go to reach an apex and begin to fall back down. Deku crashing into the dirt quite hard. However, he does just go to sit up, looking up and going to grin. Right. Okay, but this is just the first stage? Okay, but what can he do? How strong actually is he? Right, there's his whole reward thing. Um, System? Yes. Oh, you're able to talk to me? I am able to answer basic inquiries. However, to activate your spirit, please say spirit. Whenever this is activated, the glowing stone inside your cover will activate. It will act as a guide. Huh? If that was not clear, this spirit will act as a basic guide. It will grow in strength with you. Your current reward has been added. You have gained one spiritual stone. Spiritual stone. This stone is a small stone. However, over the course of time and feeding your chakra into it, you will begin to notice the spirit inside will begin to awaken. And it will begin to take the shape and or form of a creature native to your planet. Second reward. Improvement method. Deku going to stare at a strange white box in his hand. It's about, no, it's a little bit bigger than his palm. Him opening it up and finding a tea bag? Him very confused. And the system does go to inform him. Cultivation aid, or an improvement aid. This is something that is chock full of chakra, and it will allow him to recover after expending his energy. One of these is able to restore 50% of your stored energy. It is also able to help hydrate and relax you, and has the ability to heal minor wounds. Wow. Okay. That's something. Huh. So, is there anything else? There is not. These are your rewards upon breaching into the first realm. Your second realm rewards may be better and or show significant improvement. Okay, but how did I even gain the system? Error, information unknown. Really? Yes. Information is not found. Okay, but can I ask you questions? System? Hello? Really? You were just chatty a minute ago. Him a bit annoyed. However, he does still get to stare at this strange container of tea bags. He does feel the pressure when he does get a look at it. But when he does get to hold one of these bags in his hand and seriously get a look at it, he does begin to notice he does see faint strands in the air. They're almost like heat strands. But when he does a look down at the box, he does begin to notice they do begin to appear a lot more. Strange, blue, and brown waves of energy do slightly pour off of them like a bit of smoke. As he does a close the top, and the wisps of smoke do begin to fade. And this, it does catch his interest. He is curious about if he can get other quests. But so far, there's only the one. Okay, but he knows what he wants to do. I mean, the book said it itself earlier. He knows what he wants to be. And his core identity, I think that's the right word for it. It is based on his ideals. He wants to be a hero, but his body is telling him to be himself, be his own version of a pro, not to walk the path someone else has walked before. Find his own path. And a powerful pull in Deku's chest does tell him that that is the right answer. And he does look down and go to stare at that. Right now, though, he doesn't run upstairs, since he does need to try and figure out a bit more about this chi stuff. He saw that there is a chapter in the book about harnessing chi. It's chapter 12, maybe? But he only glanced at the words. Bakugo got in his way, and that's odd. Did his memory improve too? He's remembering. Huh. Interesting. Okay, that's weird. He doesn't even know what that is. But that's for a higher realm cultivator, isn't it? It's way later inside the stage of the book. Okay. That's definitely odd, though. He'll have to figure that out after he gets up to that point, but he's got to at least clear the first 100 chapters. Though, learning a bit more about all of this stuff, going through the first 10 chapters of the book, might help him again. Chapter 1 was a brief summary of the first 10. So if he does look at number 11 and it's the same thing, he can vaguely get what all of the 10 chapters start out with. Okay. Yeah, he can handle that. He can do that. And Deku, he does go to study a little late, finding himself to be quite tired whenever he does go to sit in his room and go over everything. However, he does decide to test out one of his improvement aids. And right now, he does make himself a nice cup of tea and sit down with it, finding the aroma to be very enticing, even without sugar and even without anything else, like a creamer or a milk. And when he does get to take a sip of it, he does go to feel his energy nearly completely restore itself. It feels like he just drank something quite strong, like a coffee or an espresso. Whatever it was, it gave him a jolt of energy he was not expecting. And right now, he does try to stay up a bit later to figure out more about all this, about what can get him to the second stage the fastest. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. I will catch you guys in the next mini shot.